Here it is, as promised, a new video for you guys. This time, it's the top 10 super, ultra, mega, best indie games of all time, in my opinion. Indie games are my favorite genre of video games. They always have been, and it's likely they always will. Of course, I love AAA titles, but games made by independent developers or small studios are special, at least to me. Before I get to this list, thank you for all the support on the last video. I love reading all of your guys' comments, especially your top 10 lists. There are some games I played from them, and there are some I haven't, but I will, soon. Looking at you, Outer Wilds. Now, to make space for more games on this list, I'm not including any of the indie games from my top 10 video games of all time video. And with that out of the way, let's get into this one. At number 10, it's Ruiner. Released in 2017, this game is everything you want from a top-down action shooter. It's got the soundtrack, it's got the visuals, and of course, it's got the violence. Set in a cult cyberpunk metropolis, Ruiner is a story about a nameless but not heartless killer. You're on a mission to tear through the veil that hides the dark reality of this corrupt city, and at the same time, save your kidnapped brother. You soon meet a mysterious ally, known only as her. She helps you fight your way to the dark heart of this world through enemies and defenses alike, and she's the one who gives you your nickname. It's a surprisingly somber story, and those melancholic moments that emerge from the concrete undergrowth of the Ruiner's world are only heightened by the hauntingly beautiful soundtrack. There's even a short comic on the game's website that perfectly captures the essence of Ruiner. Ruiner's gameplay is also amazing. With a lot of fighting throughout the game, it only makes sense that there are a lot of weapons and abilities for you to use. I've played through Ruiner a couple of times, and every time I do, I always add something new to the way I play. It's a memorable game, and all of you should give Ruiner a shot. Continuing the theme of fighting, at number 9, it's Furi. Furi is not a game with a lot of exposition in its beginning. You play as Ryder, an enigmatic character who has lost most of his memory and is now a prisoner in a world that's designed to be his prison. Your only goal is to escape it, and to do so you have to journey to each layer of this world, fighting the jailers whose sole purposes are to keep you in this prison. As you continue confronting challenge after challenge and surviving struggle after struggle, you learn more and more about this world. The jailers you face share their story, and backstories about Ryder are brought to light. For Ryder, it's a frustrating journey, but that frustration is shared with you, the player, because of how difficult this game is. It's a mix of an unforgiving bullet hell that requires you to be laser precise with your movements and attacks, but at the same time, there's also a skill-based attack, dodge, parry dynamic. However, no matter how hard these trials become, Furi is still a fulfilling video game experience. The combat is exciting, the bosses are challenging, and the soundtrack complements both of these perfectly. And even in the quiet moments between all the fighting, Furi is beautiful. As you continue down layer by layer, you sink further and further into this immersive gameplay loop. I loved every part of Furi, all the way until its end. I promise not every game on this list is difficult or about fighting, but at number 8, it's Gambit. This game was like a reflection of my experience with Elden Ring, and it only makes sense being a Souls-like platformer. Initially, I quit on Gambit, but there was a part of me that wanted to make it to the end and see what was on the other side, see what was calling me back to this game. So I did. Gambit is a punishing but rewarding journey. It's a story about mortality and hope. You play as Soren, a servant of death itself, tasked with destroying an ancient relic, a source of immortality. You come across a lot of characters and regions during this quest, and in retrospect, it's really reminiscent of a Soulsborne game. I love the gameplay, not only the epic boss fights and combat, but the exploration and being able to build your character in true Souls-like fashion. You can create classes with different weapons, magic, and skills, and there's a lot of each of these to discover throughout the game. And of course, the story was truly special. There are a lot of revelations and discoveries you make, and the game keeps adding to this already amazing world the more you play. This is Crow, and Crow's job is a simple one. Travel to different realms and reap the souls of the dead. That is, however, until the soul you are meant to collect is stolen. And if things weren't bad enough as they are, the thief has fled with the soul to a realm beyond death's reach. Now, you find yourself on an adventure through different regions of this otherworldly world to hunt down the thief and take back the soul belonging to you. Death's Door is a Souls-like RPG with fun gameplay that has a bit of everything. Cool characters and bosses, unique weapons and magic, a lot of mystery and discovery, and most of all, death. This journey will take you to settings that are all aesthetic and unique, each with their own challenges, puzzles, and secrets, and can we take a moment to appreciate the art style of this game? The story of Death's Door is one about confronting death and dealing with grief. And though there's a semi-serious tone of this throughout the game, there's also a bit of everything else. Moments of happiness, sadness, laughter, and goosebumps. It's depthful and well written, and Kuro's quest is a memorable one. Also, I'm not going to say which one it is, but Death's Door has one of my favorite boss fights in any video game, ever. Taking a break from all the violence, at number 6, it's Spiritfarer. If you love cuteness and coziness, Spiritfarer is the game for you. You play as Stella with your cat Daffodil as a ferry master to the spirits that need guiding from this life to the next. You spend most of your journey aboard your ship, also your home, which you use to venture from region to region. As you explore this gorgeous open world, you meet characters with rich personalities who you befriend and take care of, and inevitably have to say goodbye to. It's one of the most emotional and touching games I've ever played, and yeah, I will admit, I cried a lot playing this. I'm not normally into games that are centered around management, but Spiritfarer weaves this into its gameplay perfectly and makes something that's often tedious into something fulfilling and fun. Even as I neared the end of this game, I was still being moved by its story, and above all else, its characters. Each of the spirits you come across are unique, and they grow on you day by day, building upon the underlying emotional connection that's already there. I did not expect Inscryption to be everything that it was. This game is something that will surprise you again and again, and then again. Inscryption is a mysterious, story-rich video game. It's a deck-building roguelike, but at the same time, it's so much more. There are so many more layers of this game, dark secrets in the shadow waiting to be revealed by the light of your discovery. It's got this grim, foreboding ambience, a dark atmospheric cloud that looms above you with each and every moment. The characters you meet and revelations you unearth add to this lingering feeling. All of the game's elements are woven together with such thought, and that translates to the screen to the player. If you don't know anything about Inscryption, perfect. I don't even want to say anything else, because if I do, that would only dull the magic of this game. Disco Elysium is the epitome of masterful writing in a video game. It's the standard all writers, such as myself, should revere and be inspired by because it is just perfect. You play as Harriet Dubois, one part of a detective duo with the other being Kim Kitsuragi. The two of you are on an investigation in Elysium, tasked with solving a murder mystery. However, with each new answer comes a new question. And soon enough, you realize that this murder case now bleeds into every part of the city. There are a lot of characters and side stories that all lead to the same crossroads. Speaking of which, the characters in Disco Elysium are some of the most memorable ones I've encountered in any video game. They are all individualistic, each contributing to the world's lore and depth in one way or another. The highlight of this game, however, is in its gameplay. Disco Elysium has a meaningful skill system which influences how you play. Some impact the way you interact with the world, while others change the conversations you can make with characters. There are plenty of pathways you can take towards reaching the end of this murder mystery. There is nothing really like Disco Elysium. The abstract art style, the breadth of this world, the uniqueness of its characters, and the multifaceted story. It is all masterful. Making it to the number 3 game on this list, Solar Ash. Made by the developers of my favorite video game, Hyper Light Drifter, Solar Ash is set in the same universe, but it is something completely new. It's a high-speed, action-adventure journey that takes place in this dreamlike world, rich with the ruins of long-gone civilizations. You play as Ray, a void runner that must stop her planet from being consumed by the Ultra Void, a kind of black hole of this universe. Unlike Hyper Light Drifter, there's dialogue throughout Solar Ash. There are void log caches that give you answer to some of the mysteries surrounding this world, and there are characters you'll meet who share their own stories. However, apart from the breathtaking art style, the emotional soundtrack, and the special world of Solar Ash, my favorite part of this game were the boss fights. I never had the chance to play Shadow of the Colossus, but Solar Ash comes close. The boss sequences in this game are so cinematic, and each of them had epic build-ups that were fulfilled by the climax. At number 2, it's Sable. In this game, you play as Sable, a young girl from a small clan who is on a personal rite of passage known as the Gliding. With your hover bike, you traverse a desert world lush with lively cities, strange monuments, ancient mysteries, and so much more. This exploration is not only outward but inward in reflection. Sable is a heartfelt journey of self-discovery. At times it is lonely. It's just you, your hover bike, and the sparseness between everything in this world. But it's the kind of sparseness that's full of meaning and emotion. As you ride to the different regions of this beautiful world, you meet a lot of characters, whether that's city folk or nomads like you. Some will ask for your help, while others will share stories about this world. There are times where you will come across dormant technology that you have to bring back to life, and there are others where you have to solve puzzles to unlock hidden mysteries of monuments and ruins. With every discovery, you piece together the history of this exotic world, and with each piece, you discover a part of yourself too. I loved every moment of Sable, and every moment was so much more special knowing that this journey had to come to an end eventually. Before I get to my number one indie game, like last time, I have to give the honorable mentions to the games that did not make it to this list. This list was so difficult to make because of the following games. So, shout out to The Wolf Among Us, Hades, Dead Cells, A Short Hike, Journey, Abzu, Gris, Katana Zero, Hotline Miami, and Sundered. This is it, guys. My number one indie game, Kill Knight. If there's one word to describe this game, it's intense. Kill Knight is an arcade-like top-down bullet hell shooter, and it is the most fun I've had in a video game in forever. The violence in this game is visceral. You play as a demonic knight condemned to the eternal voids of an eldritch arena, and to survive, you have to fight the waves of otherworldly horrors. The atmosphere this game has is so potent. The emotion you get from playing it is as powerful as the gameplay itself. There's an entire arsenal of weaponry, equipment, and skills you can arm yourself with and master. You have your dash, your main weapon, a melee, an overcharged melee, an overcharged melee. You also have a timed mechanic that can quicken your reload, enhance your melee or weapon, and pick up crystals that are used to charge these. I would be lying if I said this game was for casual gamers, because it's not. It's hellishly difficult, and though I've completed the game on the hardest difficulty, it took a lot from me to do so. Kill Knight is best described as hard to play and even harder to master, but the experience you get from this game is unparalleled. The blood-pumping soundtrack, the insane visuals, the devastating combat. I loved each part of Kill Knight, through and through. Thank you for making it to the end of this list. Like last time, let me know in the comments what are your favorite indie games, and if there are any that I don't know, I'll play them and maybe even make a video about them. Thanks for all the love once again. I'll see you later.